What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive, and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's majestic and fantastic video, we are back at it with some glorious thunder, for I am talking about Al Ewing's Immortal Thor, issue number 3. But before we dive into the world of gods and everything that is Marvel, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that happens on this majestic channel. So what are you waiting for? Let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan. Hit that subscribe button. Thus, without further ado, let's get heroic and Shakespearean with Immortal Thor, issue number 3. So our story begins with Thor dreaming, for our majestic hero is going through the motions of the all-sleep. Having exhausted his power following Thor's battle of Toranos, Thor had to recharge, and with Loki's help, he was sent into the all-sleep to do exactly that. And so while Thor is dreaming, looking all cozy and extremely comfortable, it's here where he suddenly begins falling down into nothing. At the same time, Loki is shown to be laughing in the background. From there, Thor awakes, and with a full beard, meaning that Thor's been asleep for some time. But on top of that, Thor finds himself in an unknown area. So yeah, there's a lot of questions to be had. How long has Thor been asleep? And 2, where the heck is he? Fortunately, one of the good things that we can take away from this is that Thor is feeling much more energized than prior. So at least that part's good. Now, before we can take off to fight Toranos, assuming that the evil god has returned after being sent to the void, Loki shows up and provides Thor with the synopsis of what's happening. Essentially, he tells Thor that he's bound to this place via magic from his staff. To put it plainly, Loki has sent Thor to perform a test, a sort of like an escape room challenge. For that is the mission you must complete in order to ensure victory. However, Loki is sure to mention that Thor has to do this without being able to summon the Bifrost via his hammer. And at first, Thor's like, I don't believe you. You're kind of a trickster dick. But he's quickly able to realize that Loki is telling him the truth. And from there, Thor's like, screw it, I'll just fly out of here. But as he begins to do that, Thor finds himself in space, filled with countless stars and various amounts of constellations, none of which he recognizes. In other words, he's lost at sea. But instead of being lost in the endless ocean, he's lost an endless void of stars in space. From there, Thor immediately goes into a fit of rage towards Loki for being a silly trickster. Loki dips, leaving Thor to be by himself. Eventually, after raging and yelling like a man-child, Thor comes to terms with his situation, and knowing he's the only god who can get himself out of the place, he gets right to work. After building a workbench, Thor takes his helmet and starts smashing it. And after cooling the metal and using his hammer as a whetstone, Thor creates a new weapon, an axe, which he dubs with the name Tormod. And would you look at that, his new weapon is sharp enough to shave his beard. Not gonna lie, that's pretty dope. Now from there we see Loki making his return. However, despite the fact that Thor crafted himself a new weapon, according to Loki, it's still not enough to escape this place. And that's when Thor gets a lightbulb moment, for he cuts a tree down and gives himself a handle for Tormod. And upon believing in himself and activating the magic imbued, Tormod activates and brings Thor back to the moon where he was last at prior to issue 3. And here he is also met with Loki. And it seems Loki needed Thor to undergo a test, a sort of trial for what's to come. And now with this new weapon, Tormod, Thor is ready to push forward. Basically, Thor has learned patience, and that being with a threat such as Toranos, he can't just dive straight into battle. He needs patience and a quick mind. And so from there, that's when Thor comes to the realization that he will need allies to contend with against Toranos. However, at least one of his allies that Thor has in mind will not be pleased to see Loki. And that is, of course, the goddess of Earth, the goddess of Thunder, a key member of the X-Men, Storm. Ooh. And that, folks, was the end of the Immortal Thor, issue number 3. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. So yeah, when it comes to Al Ewing's Immortal Thor, you can just tell that the craft in terms of writing and art, that this story is en route into becoming a Marvel epic. I say this all the time, but I love how Al Ewing writes Thor. He's found this perfect blend of old school Thor with the whole Shakespearean approach and the new and more modern lens of Thor. You know, him being a badass and all yoked up and whatnot. It's great stuff. I will say though that a lot of what happens is somewhat ambiguous, which is probably my only problem with the comics so far. And heck, maybe this is just me being stupid, but a lot of what's happening at first doesn't make sense. And again, this is probably a me thing, but after I've read the comic a few times, you know, just to make sure that I understood and comprehended what was happening. In the end, I was able to understand it all, but it was just very like convoluted, and you're like kind of like, wait, what? you're asking the question like, okay, like why did Loki do all this? Like, wait, what's happening? But I will say that the issue has a lot of wording, and the way it's written, plus bringing forth this old school English, vibe, I think that adds a bit to the confusion. So hopefully in future issues, it becomes more clearer, or I just become more used to like this style of writing and just how it's like being executed. But overall, it's great stuff. So yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff. And if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 4? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.